Alright, what is going on, guys? So we have an interlude campaign over on the English version of FGO, and it's a little disappointing, I'm not gonna lie, because usually when we get these interludes, it's very hit or miss, because sometimes it's like, oh, we're getting a whole ton of buffs, right? And these servants are going to get some pretty good, like, NP buffs, and it's going to be really impactful for the game. A lot of free-to-play players are going to get, like, a nice buff to their servants, but this one is just like, here's some quartz. Here's a little bit of, which, I mean, the day we're complaining about getting free quartz is, you know, a bad day, right? But I like getting these buffs for the servants more than I like getting one quartz, because, like, what's going to help me or, like, other players out more? Getting one Saint quartz or getting, like, an NP upgrade where, like, a servant's getting, like, massive amounts of more damage and they're getting, like, super really good effects on their NP. I mean, there's probably people that are going to be like, no, I prefer the quartz all day, every day. But me, I would rather get the buffs. I find it to be more exciting. The servants getting to, like, the ability to do more things. They're becoming more viable. And it's like, it's only a net positive, right? Whereas, like, dude, you might get that one Saint quartz. Maybe you're at 29 Saint quartz. You get that one Saint quartz. You're like, dude, I could finally do a multi. Min multi, your account sucks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nothing good happens. It's all bad. So that's why I really like when we get these things, because usually they're really good. It's like a net positive. It's only good. It's not like you get a buff and it makes you worse, unless arguably Artoria's buff. There's some people that are like, they don't like that Artoria just turns into a big unga bunga monster when you use her new buff. But aside from something like that, I think all the other buffs are good. Then we have this, where Hijikata and Hessian Lobo get NP upgrades, and we're like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. These are like two servants that drastically need a buff. Okay, what has Hijikata got? He's doing damage, and he's doing more damage depending on how low his HP is. So what does he get? More damage. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. That's all Hijikata gets. He didn't get like any more like actual damage buffs, like attack, buster, crit, which I know he already has stuff like this, right? Like, he's got the party-wide buster damage, and he's got the crit damage. It's somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I'm like, I know he's already got some of this stuff, right? But it's like, this is based on his HP, and this is only 20%. So it's like, we could have at least giving him something like an attack buff. Like, I don't know, maybe like he gets 30% attack, like just on the turn that he uses his NP, right? It procs beforehand. Or maybe it lowers opponent's defense by like 30%. Maybe it gives him like 30% crit damage for 3 turns. Maybe it drops like 30 stars when he uses it. Maybe it buffs his crit star generation, because, you know, he's got 5 hits. You know, you can gen like a decent amount of stars with that. You know, not a whole lot, but a decent amount. But they were just like, all right, Hijikata, you know, one of the servants that really could use the buff, because Hijikata is not exactly the shining example of what a good servant looks like. And they handed us a turd, dude. They were just like, here you go. Here's Hijikata's buff. Here's his interlude buff. And we're like, thanks. Thanks, FGO. That's very appreciated. So Hijikata continues to just kind of be a meme, just kind of be like just a mess servant. So I don't know. We still have these skills that can be buffed, and we know that they could always go back and fix skills. But this skill is honestly like probably what saved Hijikata a little bit, because they gave him guts to help out his lower HP buff damage type meme that he's got going on. So at least they gave him that. But Lobo, he at least got something, right? So like right now, he pierces evasion. He does obviously does damage, and then he has a chance to insta kill. But what they did do is they slapped on a crit damage buff onto him, which is pretty nice, because it is 20% crit damage for 3 turns, which isn't a whole lot, but it is, you know, nice. He's a quick servant. He's going to be genning like pretty good stars, like with his NP, because he has 8 hits on it, and giving him the crit damage kind of lets him use the crit stars that he had, and it does kind of round out his kit a little bit more, because as you guys can see, he did not have crit damage at all in his kit, which is kind of weird, because he's a quick servant that can gen like a decent amount of stars. He's got like decent hits, and I mean, his star gen is he's not Jack, okay? He's not like Jack with like the 25% star generation, where like Jack pokes somebody and like 400 billion stars come out of nowhere. He's not like that. He's nothing crazy, but you know, he could still gen a decent amount of stars, especially with his NP and doing some quick chains. And, you know, he had a way to suck up his stars, and he had a nice, just like kind of flat damage buff. This is kind of just like an L of his skill right now. This needs to get buffed, but I guess the removing buffs is fine. But this does kind of help him be a little more cohesive. They give him a little bit of like, okay, you can produce stars, you can absorb them to yourself, and now you can kind of be a crit damage guy. It's just kind of a shame that it's kind of low. 20%, it's better than nothing. Right, it's not nothing, but it is kind of low. He does at least get it for 3 turns, so it's like, like, it's okay. It's nothing super insane. It's definitely a lot better than Hijikata's, but that's really all we got for this interlude. Like, I mean, the, like, Semiramis, I understand why they didn't buff her. I understand why they're not buffing Nightingale right now, and, you know, what's his name? Munenori and, Mr. Founder Assassin lately over here, like, maybe she could have used some buffs actually, but obviously like they're getting things in the future, so it's like whatever right now. It's just I don't know. Hijikata is obviously like pretty disappointing, especially because I know there's quite a few people that have Hijikata because they liked him as like a meme servant. So I would have like actually liked if he would have gotten something, so those people that have Hijikata don't feel like they're wasting a spot bringing Hijikata, right? Because as a like single target berserker, wouldn't you rather just bring like Ku Alter or Heracles or not Ibuki but Ibaraki, the free-to-play like Jalter? Like there's just like so many like better berserkers that I would rather bring just off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's others that I'm just like not thinking about right now. And this isn't like a video to like just take a fat dookie all over Hijikata, so I'm not gonna further go into that. But at least like Lobo, he at least got something. It's still like if you have Jalter, you're not gonna use Lobo. His like 20% crit damage, you're like, that's cute, but Jalter still got like her 50% crit damage for 3 turns and the biggest like attack stat in the entire game, so she still got that going for her. Jalter's not being threatened by Lobo, but it is nice. It kind of turns him into like a baby quick version of Jalter, which I think is fine for him being a 4-star servant. He's a lower rarity than Jalter. So in theory, you know, I say this, but I'm the same guy that did not pull Izo, but I did get Okita Alter. So in theory, him being a lower star servant should make him easier to get than like Jalter, and should then like make him more accessible, and you know, is just better for like free to play players as a whole. It's like a net positive for everybody. But let me know what you guys think about these 2 buffs for Hijikata and Hessian Lobo. We're getting very close to the Kama banner coming out on global, or I keep saying global because I'm used to playing Dokkan, which is called like global and JP, but then for FGO it's NA and JP, so you guys know what I'm talking about. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll probably start putting out videos about like the Oku event probably in like the next couple of days, just to kind of get summoning guides and everything out there for you people. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late guys.